Friends, welcome to Holy Trinity Catholic Church, where we believe, belong, and become. Persistent prayer, consistent labor, existent mission. On this Mission Sunday, the readings draw our attention to this fundamental responsibility of Christians, in particular the Catholics, all of us, to be persistent in prayer, to be consistent in our labors of the mission, and to render the necessary action for the existent mission. The first reading, we see how the hands of Moses were lifted up, held up by Joshua, Aaron, and Hur. And as long as the hands of Moses were up in prayer, the Israelites were winning the battle. So the mission is a collective action. Pray without getting wearied in mission, because the devil is praying without getting wearied. Four prominent people in the first reading: Moses, Joshua, Aaron, and Hur. The collective mission of the church to battle against the evils of the world. Missionaries engage in tireless efforts, all parts of the world: Africa, Asia, Scandinavia, Mongolia, Colombia, Mexico, India, Italy, America, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, you name the countries. The mission of the church is consistently being done. That is why the responsorial psalm beautifully captures the four parts of our body. Eyes lifted in prayer. Foot represents the moving action of the missionaries. Hands for serving the people entrusted in the care of the missions. And heart that is connected to God. Some are missionaries, Mother Teresa says, by going to the missions. Some of us are missionaries by giving to the missions. On this Mission Sunday, the church, the Pope Leo invites us first to pray persistently for missions, two, to be consistent in our labors for the existent missions. But we can do by praying fundamentally, but then to give to the missions consistently, to the labor of the missionaries. Second reading says, the mission work to be done whether it is convenient or inconvenient. The missionaries preach the gospel whether it is convenient or inconvenient. The missionaries convince, reprimand, encourage through all circumstances, through patience and through teaching. Winston Churchill famously said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. On this Mission Sunday, we make life happen by giving to the missions. We all may not go to the missions because we have our own particular vocations and calling, but we can definitely give to the labor of the missionaries, to be consistent. And at the same time, we pray persistently, like the widow in the gospel who went to the judge to render her justice. Pope Leo in Delixite Te, the apostolic exhortation, which means I have loved you, says this fundamentally pressing, convincing words, and I quote, the fact that some dismiss or ridicule charitable works as if they were an obsession on the part of a few and not the burning mission of the church convinces me to go back and reread the gospel, lest we risk replacing it with the wisdom of the world. End quote. Pope Leo in Delixite Te. I have loved you. The work of the missionaries to reach out to the frontiers, the edges, the mission of the church exists to evangelize, but the church evangelizes through catechesis. For such catechesis, for those catechetical programs, endeavors, enterprises, initiatives, today on this Mission Sunday, the church is asking all of us to engage in prayer, to be persistent in prayer, in praying for missionaries, to be consistent in the missionary labors for the existent missions of the church. And in the gospel, we see how the widow who goes to the judge to render her justice, she represents the oppressed of the society. Her standoff was long enough to wear down the judge. She is the model of persistence and resoluteness in our prayers and in our initiatives to pray for the missions and to give to the missions so that the church can continue to evangelize the world through catechesis, through catechetical programs and enterprises, through the initiatives of the global church, the local church. When God is asking of us to pray persistently so that we can contribute to the existent missions through consistent labors, prayer opens mutual doors, desire for God and desire for each other in the mission. Persistent prayer opens the mutual doors, one towards God, desire God, and to desire to serve our brothers and sisters in the missions. The mission begins with the personal prayer, the first reading, but also it has the communal prayer as Moses, Aaron, Joshua, and were collectively brought together to win the battle. So the mission of the church is the result of the personal prayer, which is persistent, but also the communal prayer, which engages in action to win the battle against the evil in the process of evangelizing the world, to strengthen the consistent labors of the missionaries. Eyes that raise in prayer, as the psalm says, hands and feet that engage in mission, and the heart that connects to God. As we pray for the mission work in the world, let us examine to see whether our prayers are persistent for the consistent labors of the missionaries so that the existent mission zeal of the church can continue. Father Praveen Lakiseti, here at Holy Trinity Catholic Church in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you and God bless.